Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Corner Talks podcast. We have Victoria Cesareo, talented filmmaker, on the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you're joining the podcast. You
Yeah, it's
know,
exciting.
Instagram's a crazy world of social media.
Yeah.
I'm scrolling through it, and not once, but I don't know how many times you pop up on my feed or my Explorer, and I'm saying to myself, I don't know this girl, I don't know who she is, but I love when people in their bio say producer, editor, filmmaker, and I'm noticing all your posts, and I'm so happy we connected and we're able to
Yeah,
have this conversation.
yeah, super exciting. I know, it's like I've been popping up everywhere because I've just been posting crazy stuff. So like that's why.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And, that's the beauty of social media, right? It'd be able to connect and network with fellow filmmakers. It's allowed me, to explore that path, especially with the pandemic. And before the podcast, you were telling me how the struggle it is to find work,
Yes.
and just, yeah, really, really find yourself after graduation, period, is such a struggle. And people don't realize that with millennials and Gen Zs. So, I'm happy, like I said, we connected. And what really caught my eye about your page is, again, the shots and way they were constructed, the way they told the story, and that's what immediately drew me in. It wasn't just thrown out there like splattered about a whole bunch of stuff. There was a lot of intriguing content, which we'll get into. But before we do that, I want to know, like, what was your earliest experiences with film?
So it's actually okay, it's crazy because I've actually been doing this for so long. Back, oh my God, I want to say like grade six even.
Right.
I used to edit these little videos together, and I used to use like whatever came with my laptop. I didn't have like an extra um film software. Like I use Final Cut Pro. But before I
Nice.
used like whatever my Windows computer came
iMovie
with.
or
That
whatever.
and
Yeah.
like I think it was like oh my God, I never remember what it's called. It's for Windows. It's like one of the Windows editing software. And like I literally would throw together videos, and like I've been doing that ever since I was little. So I was just like been doing it forever, and so I know it, and I was like enjoying it, whatever. And then I remember like grade 8 graduation, I was like, I want to be a film editor. And then like I'm doing that now, and I'm like, well, you know what? I don't think I have the patience for editing. But like
Right.
I also really liked producing, and like I produced a couple of things as well. So I've kind of just got like a feel for everything. And like yeah, like I've just had like the most experience. I used to edit videos for like families. Like I used
Yeah.
to I don't know, like home videos, I guess. Like I had a family once give me like their vacation footage, and then I literally burnt it to a CD. Like I don't know how I knew how to do that, but I did. And so yeah, I've just started like that, and then like over the like those years, I was just like gaining more experience, I guess, and
Yeah.
working with a bunch of people, working for clients, working for production companies, and I was like, you know what? I think like got a feel for everything, but I really do just like film. Like I just really like producing, and like I mean editing is also something I do a lot. Like I enjoy it, but I don't think I would do it as like a career type of
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, I mean hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's editing. I can see. I don't know if you agree with me on this, but editing can become very tedious, especially if you're not
Yeah.
fully immersed in the project. Sometimes, like a project I did last summer, it was a short film. It was about 20 minutes, the longest short film I ever done, and I edited the whole thing. And by the end of it, it took me about 4 months, but by the end of it, I was like so sick of it.
Yeah.
I love the film. I believe in it. It's just, yeah, I didn't want to look at it, and I still haven't looked at it since December.
Yeah,
That's how
once
long it
you're
took me.
working on a project for so long, it's like, ugh, like I don't want to see it. And like even for like, which obviously we'll talk about later, but for the documentary,
Hmm.
I didn't even edit it, and I know it word for word.
Oh,
So
that's
like,
crazy. Yeah,
we've
yeah,
just been constantly repeating it, and like all the edits that I've done that has dialogue is like, I know it all. Like I just don't want to
yeah,
watch it
yeah,
ever again.
yeah. And
Yeah,
it's and like and you need to kind of know a project inside and out in order to make the best,
exactly.
give it the best possible result, right? But definitely, like, at the end of the day, we're human beings, and we don't want to be, watching a screen endlessly in loop. But
Exactly.
that's kind of like the pain. That's the struggle of going through it. But it's a good pain.
Yeah, exactly.
So, are there any like heroes, or are there any people in film, whether they're famous or whether personally, locally, that inspired you, like gave you that push, or just something you looked at them and said, I want to do exactly like that?
Not even like I don't
No.
even know how, like I didn't have any inspiration. It was just like one day I started. Okay, so I ride horses, and so I used to get my grandfather or my mom or whoever to record me riding the horse,
Nice.
and then I would just take that video and then just edit it together. And so, I mean, I would watch YouTube videos, but I don't remember like the names of anybody. But
Hmm.
like, there's nobody specifically that like inspired me to do what I do. It's just like I kind of just liked it, and I kind of thought like, you know what, this is kind of what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like I don't see myself doing anything else. I'm a very creative person. So I mean,
Nice.
if I have a way to show that, you know, I think that's super important to me. I mean, like there's really nothing else I would rather do than what I'm doing now, and I'm like so
No, for
glad
sure.
that I did that for like the last how many years? Like 8 years.
And
Yeah.
that's why, yeah, your story is inspiring too, because there's people like myself, like Quentin Tarantino. He's a hero of mine. I always never shut up about him on the podcast. But at the same time, you are kind of are going with that. It's a calling,
Yeah.
like it's a passion, and that speaks to a lot. How you're going to make it in your own field or how you see it, because you're not basing it off of anyone else's success. You're basing it off of your own experiences with the industry, with the medium, right?
Yeah.
um so yeah, that's very interesting. Are there any other like roles you see yourself doing in the future, like a writer, a director, or are you sticking with editing, producing?
Honestly, like, okay, I do really like producing. I think that is something that I want to do. Directing, possibly, only because of the documentary.
Yeah.
I did like kind of having my hands on in that sense.
Nice.
Editing, I do it as like on the side. So I don't know like where that'll take me in a sense, but I
Right.
mean, I think for now, like just producing, editing, and possibly directing. See where it goes.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because this is what I want to get into my next point. I never went to film school.
Yeah.
It was just kind of an inherent passion that I had, and just this burning desire, like to make it. And what it is that when we're starting out, you have to be a jack of all trades, right down to the marketing. And I learned editing and directing and writing. So for yourself, you went to Humber College Film,
Yep.
right? Studied film there.
Yeah.
And I read that from your last post. And again, it's astonishing because I see people that went to film school and I never really had that experience. So I'm always curious, what was that experience like walk us through it. Did it help you? Did it transform you? Did it challenge you?
Yeah. Definitely challenging.
Yeah.
I was there. It's only a 3-year program. It's in general just a very competitive program.
Mm,
So super hard to get into. So you know, I kind of lucked out. But just the entire process, it's very like there's almost like no exams. I think I wrote maybe 6 exams total in all 3 years. It's more so just hands-on, and that's kind of why I wanted to go to college rather than like university because it's all hands-on. That's how I learned best, anyways.
right.
But a lot of the assignments were like I remember in first year we did this one called it was like a continuity assignment. So we literally had to create a story, write the story, storyboard it, then go and shoot it. So it's like a huge process. Like all these assignments that we had, and we had a lot. I think the most assignments that I had going at once were like 10 assignments, and they were all like pretty much hands on, like
Wow.
shooting assignments, writing. Like it's a very, very demanding program. But it's a very rewarding program in a sense too, because like you work so hard and like not everybody knows how much work goes into a project. Like even if it's
Yeah.
like 7 minutes, like we have a couple projects that were like 7 minutes long, even 3 minutes, but it's like the most work you have to put into it ever. And it's like so rewarding in the end when you see what you've done. And then in like second year, we did something called studio dramas where you literally build a studio or sorry, you build like a set in the studio. So like for mine, I was an art director for one of them. So it was like it's called Todd Went Out. We didn't even get to finish it because like the pandemic, but it
Yeah.
was literally about like a high school reunion, but they're all wizards. So literally had to build. It was so weird, but like we had to build a
Yeah.
wizard school in studio, and it actually turned out really well. Like we got really like got so many compliments on it too. And it
That's
was
great.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, so there's projects like that. And I remember like I went to the school at 6 p.m. and I was there till 3:30 in the morning
Oh my
building
God.
the
Wow.
set and dressing the set. Like when I tell you it's demanding, it's very
I
demanding.
was gonna say, when you tell us that it's hands-on, you're physically in there getting your hands
Physically
dirty.
hands
Yeah.
on and just like always
Yeah.
working, always doing it. And then like when you see the final product, it's like you can relax
Of
now because
course.
it's
Yeah.
done. But yeah, like we just finished the screenings for those were like literally the other night because we just finished them now. Because of like the whole pandemic, the schools closed. You can't even like go and record your
For sure.
sound, edit anything, right? So that's
Yeah.
what everybody's doing. But up until now, like I literally, there was, like I said, almost no exams. It was all hands-on assignments. Like um I don't even know, like definitely just very, very, very busy. Like
How
I
are
was
the like the professors, like your teachers, were they inspiring, or were they kind of just there and it was up to you to figure out how to do it? And your
so I mean, they
mentors?
were definitely very helpful in a sense where they were literally helping us gain experience, build our portfolios. Like if we had any questions, obviously they were there to help us. Even now they're still posting when we're done. Like
Right.
they're still posting here are job listings, things like that. In a sense, also like we kind of had to find our own internships in a way. Like yes, they were there to
Hmm.
help assist, but like internship wise, like we had to do everything. But for the most part, like they were very, very helpful. I'd say if we didn't have them, I don't think I would be where I am today in a sense,
Okay,
because
good.
they're definitely, yeah, like they're definitely they taught us a lot, especially in my production management class, which is producing.
Right.
Like I learned so much. Um, and like I'm not very technical. So when we
Hmm.
set up all the cameras and the lights and whatever, I would never have been able to figure out how to do that myself, obviously, because
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not into that. But
Hmm.
they were definitely very helpful, and we learned how to like do green screen and all that too, which I could definitely use in like editing and whatever. But yeah, I mean, without them, I don't think that we would be where we are today. So
Yeah, they were like a guide and a mentor
yeah,
in a way.
all
And the
credit
reason,
go to them.
yeah, the reason why I asked though is because, and I pressed on that, is because again, like I've dealt with creatives or I've gone to networking events, and there's always this division. There's like this blurred line. People don't know if they should go to film school, and people don't know if they're going to make it without film school. And that's something that I've kind of questioned myself. And a lot of people, when they go to these film schools, they don't know if their work is going to be challenged to the point where they can't even express themselves fully. But you're
Yeah.
saying with these professors or these teachers, they never restricted you?
So they did. There are a lot of the projects they would have to have specific guidelines, like to the T.
Yeah.
So even exporting files had to be like, um, for example, H.264. Like they have to be
Yeah. Yeah.
exported at that, or Apple ProRes 422, like something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. Like literally just to the T. And it was kind of hard to express yourself in a sense because there were so many boundaries with these films. Like for the documentary, for example, it's a 10-minute doc, but
Yeah.
all that information that we have, it could have lasted an hour. We had to cut out so much information from it because they restricted it to 10 minutes. And I
Right.
feel like that's only because of the screenings. I have no idea really why, but
Yeah.
when you screen them all, there's like 15 docs or something like that, maybe a little less. But obviously, you're going to be sitting there all night if they're 20 minutes long or 30 minutes long.
Of
So
course. Yeah.
there, in a sense, like yes, it was restricted, because now I feel like I was inspired to create another one,
Mm.
whereas like now I can just elaborate on information rather than take away. I can
Right.
like expand it and not feel like I'm being held back in a sense, because yes, like they were uh there were some restrictions on it and it kind of did suck, which whatever. But yeah.
No, but this is what I mean, right? And that's why I'm trying to get out of you. Like I'm trying to see if you're like an authentic creative person where
Yeah.
it's like you really want to, you know what I mean? Like tell your story the right way. And a lot of
Yeah.
people have that issue with that. It's like, this concept where you have to follow a criteria.
Yeah.
I was never fortunate. I was never privileged enough to go to film school, right? Like you said, you're very lucky to get in because it is very competitive, and I'm sure you got it on your own merit. I'm sure it's not just luck, but at the same time, it's like when you get in, you kind of say to yourself, but I have to follow what they want for 3 years in order to
Yeah.
get that credit. And
Yeah.
they could be right, they could be wrong, but we all know as creatives, like Martin Scorsese said it best, film school only allows you the opportunity to make a film. It doesn't help you to become the better filmmaker, like the best filmmaker, right? It's just kind of like it fine tunes your skills, gets you to that place. But once you leave, right, it's kind of up to you now, to make your stories be told. And that's
Yeah,
what I
I
want to get in. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, no, but I was just gonna say, like, for somebody who does want to learn more about film, like 100%, go to film school. It's so
Hmm.
fun. Like, I'm not gonna
Hmm.
lie, it was the best 3 years ever. But I can take away from that. Like, I can go on and say, I know how to do this now. I know what all this is about producing. I know how to edit that now. Like now, I know how to use Avid. Not
That's
that I'm
amazing.
ever going to use
Yeah.
Avid, but
Yeah, I've
now,
never heard of it. What is that? Is that an editing program?
yeah, so it's like
Oh.
industry standard editing software that we
Oh,
use.
is it higher than Premiere Pro? Is that
Yeah,
the one that's that yeah,
yeah.
that's the top
So
one, right? Yeah.
the two editing softwares that are kind of like industry standard are Avid and Final Cut.
Mm.
Um, so that's what they use to edit films, basically, is Avid, because you could do just like a whole bunch of stuff at the same time, really, with
Right,
it.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, like there was a huge takeaway from school. So literally, I guess my message to literally everybody who wants to do film is, if you are thinking about going to film school, do it, because you're gonna learn way more than you think you would. Like I
Yeah.
learned so much, and I didn't even know there was things to learn
No,
specifically.
and that's what I'm saying is that like I kind of admire in a way that you were able to go to film school because I tried myself even trying to get into a screenwriting program at York. I'm not to the level I am now when I was 17, 18 when we're applying for those programs, but I know that if I went in there, it would have allowed me to connect because I'm sure you made a lot of great contacts and
Yeah,
friends, and it would allow me to expand on my creativity. So that's something that's really cool that you got to experience.
yeah, for sure. Definitely don't regret it.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, and you shouldn't regret it. That's when you know that it's something that you're truly passionate about, right?
Exactly.
Uh, but now I want to get into my next point because before the podcast you were kind of a little bit frustrated, which is normal. Trying to find work during this crazy
Yeah,
time. Everyone's feeling it one way or the other.
yeah.
So yeah, what's kind of like your experience with that? Like, how are you going forward with like finding
So
work?
hopefully with my website, I kind of want to promote that in a sense so that I have clientele that can be like my little side job. Obviously,
Right.
I want to do something every day. I want to be able to work every day because I'm the type of person I cannot do nothing. Like I'm
Yeah.
going crazy right now as is. Like I need to do something, right? So I want to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I worked I mentioned to you before, like I worked with my dad. So my dad's a creative director.
Nice.
So I worked with him at Cassette and summer of 2019. I keep forgetting
Nice.
that.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I worked there with him and then as an internship. And then for school, because we needed an internship, I was at Scott Brothers Entertainment, so the Property Brothers,
Nice.
for 3 months, I'd say, as an internship. So I reached my maximum hours. And they couldn't keep me because of the pandemic. So thanks
Yeah.
to COVID, I couldn't stay
Right.
because all my problems would literally have been solved if like I could stay. But usually you transition to like an office PA.
Okay.
But because of COVID, they didn't obviously have an office and in-house
Yeah. Of course.
production company. So like I couldn't really expand to that. But now I've just been applying to a bunch of different places and just fingers crossed that I hear back because I'm doing nothing right now. And so like I've been trying to like obviously promote my website so that I have um, the ability to expand my portfolio and obviously make some money on the side as well, right? And
Yeah. Of
then
course.
in June, I'm actually doing it's on my website, so I guess for anyone who wants to see it, I'm doing there's upcoming project tab. So one of them is a brand launch for one of my friends' clothing lines, so we're doing that in June as well. So that's going to help me promote, which is kind of the most important thing for me right now, because I do want to get my name out there. And it's such a large industry. So, I
Yeah.
mean, there's ways to do that. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I mean, like I had an interview, I'm waiting to hear back. So,
Nice.
fingers crossed.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Best of luck.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
No. You're doing all the right things that I can think of. Right. Is
I
the
literally,
clothing line.
yeah.
Yeah, the clothing line. Because through my production company, I started a clothing line too, 94 collection, and I was telling my friend on a conversation the other night. I'm content for that, like promo videos, dance shoots,
Yeah,
photo shoots, because I'm trying to promote the clothing line, but in reality, I'm really promoting the brand.
exactly.
And that's exactly what you're doing is you're helping your friend there, but at the same time, you're promoting your brand, Victoria Cesareo as Cesareo, like what you're capable of.
Exactly.
And I think that's so important. And if I can give you some advice, like, don't stop there, create a podcast, network. It's a great way to network with other filmmakers,
Yeah, exactly.
create a YouTube channel, kind of have that presence, but it's a learning process and it's not going to happen overnight. A lot of creatives, from my experience, I remember, when I was in my early 20s, I was just like taking in everybody's piece of advice, even on the internet, like you got to do this, you got to do that. And I didn't realize that you have to take with a grain of salt. Like things happen over time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't get too overwhelmed. Like right now, your focus is, like you said, to find a job, to get busy, and expand your portfolio as best as you can, and then you'll
Yeah.
work onto the other outlets, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Um, I wanted to ask you though, because it's something that I've kind of contemplated um, with regards to like working, whether it's for financial reasons or mental health reasons,
Yeah.
right? To get out of the house.
Or both.
Do you, yeah, or both. Yeah, exactly. Right. Do you, like what I'm getting at is, would you work in the film industry, or does it matter to you? Like you just want to work as long as you're working and then you can do your stuff on the side?
I mean, I feel like my days of bagging groceries is over. So
Yeah.
I would preferably really
Yeah. Yeah.
like to just get into the film industry, whether I'm
Of
like a
course.
set PA or a project manager or whatever. Like I've literally applied as project manager, as like production manager, production coordinator. Like I've applied for literally everything. So I'm open to doing everything. But like I said, I think my days in the grocery stores are over. But
But
on the
regardless of the grocery stores, like even like an office coordinator, like receptionist jobs.
yeah, like
And I asked that because I've dealt with a lot like filmmakers, and I've connected with them. Like there was a director in LA, for instance, and he's not Quentin Tarantino level, but he still works in the industry as like a location scout while
yeah,
doing
like I can
film
do
to keep him
anything.
creative. Do you see
Yeah,
yourself doing the same thing?
I mean, yeah, I'm not too picky, but in like at the same time, I kind of do want to. I'm a very like a hands-on person. Like I like to be able to
Yeah.
like manage things. I'm also
No,
very
I know.
like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
super organized too, and like I just like really like to I don't know like I always tell people like in my interviews too when they ask you like how organized are you? I'm like you should see my desktop right now. I have like hard drives for everything. Like I just love to like I do schedules. I like to do that. I like to manage. Like anything that a producer would do or
Yeah.
like a production manager would do, like that's me. I like doing it. So I kind of want to like stick to that. Like
Nice.
I said, I'm not really picky. I mean, I'll do whatever,
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
now. Like I'm not gonna turn down a job offer
Yeah, of
right
course.
now.
Yeah, I know, no, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
You
That's
gotta
smart.
start
That's smart
somewhere.
of you. Yeah,
Exactly.
no, I was just, like I said, I was thinking down the road because you mentioned a lot of great jobs, like opportunities, and I would want you to take those positions. I'm just thinking like, because you know how it is, right? Especially now with film opportunities, if there's those openings. Um, so I was just curious, like where your mind was at, like if you would take like any job, or
Yeah.
are you leaning towards the film industry, right? Just to stay creative or just stay connected. I think that's a big thing, because
Yeah.
it's funny because I've actually worked in like Warner Brothers and Entertainment One. So it's the film industry, but it's not like production, like
Yeah.
what we're doing. So I was connected, but I wasn't. You know what I mean? Because there's two
Yeah.
different worlds. There's the commerce and then there's the creative side.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a Facebook group. I guess this is like for literally anybody who wants to be in film. There's a Facebook group called I think it's called I'm looking for a producer slash whatever, whatever.
Right.
And it's literally a group where people will post saying, I'm looking for a set PA, or I'm looking for somebody who can do craft, or literally anything. Like they'll literally post little job postings. They'll say how much you're going to get paid, when they need you for, where it is. And like I was told by a couple people from Scott Brothers actually to just literally just apply, just say, I'm available that day, I can do it. And then even then too, like you don't know who could be a big time producer that you're driving to set or feeding one day. Like it could literally be the
Yeah.
smallest thing, right? So I guess too, my advice for everybody else would be try that. If you're kind of stuck in the same position as me right now, try to do that as well, because you put your name out there, which I've kind
Yeah.
of done. I've kind of already sort of somewhat did that with apply to a couple places there. But yeah,
Oh, what do you mean? Like through the Facebook
yeah,
group?
yeah,
Like you
through the
found some
Facebook
jobs?
group.
Yeah. So you're
Yeah, but
saying some of these jobs are not always like professional studio jobs. They're
no,
independent?
like yeah, you could literally be on set for 2 days feeding people, and you'll get paid for it. At least your name's out there now. So you could say, hey, like I, bought food and I did craft for like this giant production company or whatever kind of shoot they're what they
Yeah,
were doing.
that's smart.
But even just like the smallest little things, you kind of just putting your name out there, which is the most important thing. Like film is all about connections.
Yeah.
Without connections, you're kind of stuck, right? So like
Yeah,
the
100%.
more you can do, whether you hate it or love it, like the more you can do, the better. So I mean, if like I said, I guess everybody that's graduating with me, everybody's in the same position right now.
I
So
think, yeah, I think uh bring some sanity to people like that might get overwhelmed is just to tell yourself there's always room for improvement. Like you're never gonna reach the finish line, right? Like no matter, you know, how people say I did all that I could, there's always gonna be something more that you could do,
Exactly.
right? It just what matters is like, do you enjoy doing it, and are you willing to put in more energy, right? More effort. Yeah. So that's great. Yeah. It sounds like, yeah, I think only time, well, it's only a matter of time for you.
Yeah.
You know, it is it's a crazy year for everyone. Like I said, like I'm experiencing it firsthand, and I can only imagine someone that's fresh out of graduation. They didn't have anything like you mentioned it internships, but they didn't help you guys get like ensure a job after.
They usually do. So
Okay.
if, for example, if COVID wasn't a thing and we were actually able to go into the office, I would have ended up staying at Scott Brothers. So then my problem would have been solved because I have a
Right.
job, right? But because of COVID, a lot of things are restricted. Like I saw a bunch of people from my program are doing like equipment rentals. Like they're at like a bunch of like equipment rental studios so that they work there now full time, and that's where they would do their internship. So
Nice.
they ended up getting to stay, or they'll do like costume places that rent out costumes, that kind of stuff, and they get to stay. But I guess it's just different for like every company, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether they want to
Because
keep.
film, yeah, because film is considered essential. As funny as
Yeah.
that sounds, like I was trying to explain it to people, but they can't understand why film is essential. So it's interesting that that company still, you know, let you go for whatever reason that they had. But
Yeah.
like you said, it's up to the business, right? Like how they manage
Yeah, it's
things.
totally
Yeah,
up to them. I'm not upset by it or anything like that,
yeah,
because I did like the 3 months that I was there the best. Like it's on my resume now, which I'm like so happy about, right? Because
of
you
course.
know, you see Scott Brothers Entertainment, that's like crazy. Everybody knows it. So I mean, like I was telling them, because it also wasn't a paid internship, right? So I told them initially, I was like, and they told me that they're like, it's not paid. I'm like, that's okay. I'm like, I just want it for my resume right now. And in all honesty, like I'm not worried about the money. And it would have been nice, obviously, to stay and to, you know, work with them closer. But I mean, I got to, not that I got to meet the brothers or anything, but
Oh
but I
no,
got
I was just gonna say
no,
all this talk, and you never even meet the
no, I
brothers.
didn't get to meet the brothers, no.
That's
But
so funny.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think they were in California shooting when I was
Oh,
working,
okay, okay.
so I didn't. Yeah, and then they're transitioning over to Calgary, so like I literally there was no possibility of me meeting them. But
It's
if
like
I
doing,
stayed,
yeah.
maybe.
It's like
Would have
doing the, yeah. It's like being responsible for Drew House, and you don't even get to meet Bieber, right?
yeah, but no, it was just a really good experience for me, and I'm so thankful that they, you know, they hired me, I guess, as the intern.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you
But
made
yeah,
a very good point. Like, you know, it's on your resume now. You slap it on the
yeah,
resume. You can use it, and it helps you, especially with your age and the fact that you graduated and you have that on your resume. A lot of people have yet to get there, right?
exactly. Yeah,
And yeah, so you know, having said that, now that you've graduated, right, you're fresh out in the world. You want to learn. You've been doing a lot though in the meantime, and you did a really cool project that I saw
yeah,
from your Instagram page. It's the one that caught my eye. It's called Holocaust: A Love Story. It's
yeah,
kind of a juxtaposition there,
yeah.
uh, but it's yeah, it sounds very very intriguing. And I'm a, you know, I love World War II. I love that history. You know, fans of like, you know, Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, very powerful films
Very.
in that genre. The Pianist.
Yeah.
So I want to know, like, what was your role in making this particular film?
So I directed it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So okay, my favorite topic. I love to talk about this documentary.
Yeah.
So I pitched it. So we started actually working on the pitch packages. I think in first year, because it was, oh yeah, first year around April. So April, May. So around this time. Um, we literally just had to do, I even have it, it's like literally outside in the hallway. It's like a fat book like this of just like 30, 40 pages of everything I had in mind for the film. So who I wanted to be interviewing, like where I wanted to shoot it, how I wanted it to look, like all this stuff. So that started in um, April of first year. And then in September of second year, we pitched it to literally everybody. So there was like 100 people. I think maybe a little less than 100 people, but that's a lot. Faculty, students, everything. And we did like a PowerPoint slideshow about it. And I guess we found out a couple days later which ones got selected, and so mine happened to be one. And I think it's just honestly because it's so interesting.
Yeah.
It started off with and I had pitched it as producer initially. But I'm so glad now I ended up going with director because my name's on it. I technically own the film. So once
Yeah.
Humber
Yeah.
doesn't have the rights, like they have, like I mentioned earlier too, they own it now. So up
Right.
until 2 years, Humber owns it. So it'll be 2 years this October, and then I own it. So I can kind of distribute it the way I want.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of glad that I have my name on it. But yeah, so that's how I started it with. It just started with a pitch, started with an idea, which I can go more in depth if you want the whole backstory.
Yeah, for sure. I love to
Yeah.
hear it. I'm more. I just wanted to mention. I didn't know. Like, I had a feeling you directed it, but I wasn't sure because you kept saying you were a producer and editor. But
Yeah.
I'm happy that you directed it because it seemed like, because I see you being a director. That's why when you kept saying a producer, I was like, well, you sure you don't want to be a director because you seem so involved.
Yeah.
But that's up to you, right? At the end of the day, you have to know, because director like has to believe in the story, feel the story, kind of like with this story, the
There's
Holocaust.
also a lot more to directing that we learned in school that I was,
Yeah.
no, I don't think I could do this. Maybe for a documentary, different story.
Out of
But for like,
curiosity, what did you learn about directing that
so
through
you
your?
also have to do like blocking. It's called blocking, or you have to do
Um,
like breakdowns, and I'm just like, no, I don't like this. I think I'm more of like
I know
producing is like the more like business side of film. So I feel like because I'm
it
like
is. Yeah.
I like leading people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess the director could do that too, but I
It's
feel
a
like
different form of leading. Yeah,
exactly. So
director's more you have to think on
more
your
creative.
toes like all the time creatively. All right, yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, like I feel like producing is more my thing. So I pitched it as producer, but then my one of my
Nice.
props was like, say director, and I'm like, okay, director, like
Yeah,
I'm
it's true.
directing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it was really cool. But I can give you like the backstory.
Yeah, sure. So walk us through yeah, walk the floor is yours. Talk
Yeah.
to us about this. Yeah.
So back in high school, it starts in high school. Um, there was like I don't know, maybe like your school did this too, the
Hmm.
trips to like Europe or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
they did. Yeah.
yeah, so as a joke to my parents, I was like, "Mom, can I go to Germany?" And she's like, "I mean, I guess." And so I was like, "Oh, okay." So I ended up going. We ended up going to Poland, Germany, Hungary, Czech Republic, and Slovakia.
Oh, nice.
And as soon as they mentioned going to Auschwitz. And so I have this huge obsession with history. I love learning about it. I've done so much research on the Holocaust itself and then everything in between. Everything about Hitler, everything about what he did, like everything, right? And
Nice.
so when we actually went to Auschwitz, it was like this horrible feeling. It's just such a weird, it's so hard to describe. It's like such a it was such a miserable day too. Like it was raining and it was just so
Yeah.
sad. We went
Yeah.
really late, right?
Yeah.
But then after that day, I was like, you know what? Like I feel like this is something that people need to know. Like a lot of people don't know about this, and like especially like the younger generation, like they're not gonna know. Like my brothers are young, they're not gonna ever know about this. Like I think
Yeah.
I was the last generation to meet a Holocaust survivor. Like I met one at there's a Holocaust center which is actually in the documentary that we shot at the Nyberger Center. They do a lot of talks there, so a lot of the Holocaust survivors will come there and they'll talk. And this was like I think grade 10, so like in history class that I met them, and then grade 12 is when I went to Auschwitz. And it's just like we met a Holocaust survivor, and I don't know if he's still alive, unfortunately, because I think he was in his 80s at the time. He could be. I don't remember his name either though. But after when I came back from Europe, I was like, no, people need to know about this, and so that's why I was like, documentary, like this is what I want to do. I was like, I'm gonna write about this, and then in the process of writing the whole pitch package, I reached out to the Friends of Simon Wiesenthal Center, and so they have all the Holocaust survivors. They have everybody living in Toronto, and so they were able to give me. Her name's Vera Schiff, so she I think is 94 or 93 right now. Um, she was my initial interview subject. So she was her story is incredible. She was actually at a concentration camp with her family. She's the only one that survived out of her family members. So her story is incredible. I met her. I went to her apartment. We had a little chat, obviously before COVID. And then I kind of gave her the rundown, basically what's going to go, like what's going to happen, like when we're going to shoot, what we need from you. And she's like, okay, I'll do it. And then she met with the crew and she's like, I can only give you guys 2 hours of my time out of 3 days that we had to shoot. And I was like, that's nothing. And then like she didn't feel comfortable with us going in her apartment to shoot some things, and like she wasn't as healthy, so it was kind of harder for her to do things.
Yeah.
And she called me one day and she's like, I can't do it because my doctor says it's not good for me. This is 2 days before we're going to camera. So she pulled out very last minute. And so that's who I initially pitched the idea about, was
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
And so I even included like an interview clip and whatever. And I was like, okay, like this is a really good story.
She was your lead. She was attached to the project.
She was attached to the project. So and then I ended up calling Friends Assignment Wiesenthal Center again, and I said, Vera backed out, I need somebody else. And she's like, call Andy. Andy will definitely do it. So I gave Andy a call and he's like, of course I'll do it. I'll give you everything you need. And and then like since then I'm still in contact with him now because he's just incredible. He's such a good guy. Yeah. He let us film in his apartment. He came wherever we went. Like
nice.
Just so much content for us to use, and it was incredible.
Easy going. Yeah.
Is
this the older man? Is this the older man that I keep seeing? Like
that's Andy.
So yeah, so that sounds like a great story, and I'm glad it turned out. You were able to get someone, and this is what I mean by you keep persisting and you believe in your story that much, you'll find a way to make it happen, and never giving up, right? Yeah. So I was gonna share the screen here, so if people are watching on YouTube, they can see it here. This is on her website. And this is the man you're speaking of.
Yeah, so that's Andy. So yeah. I think if you hover over it, it'll give you kind of a little rundown. But Andy was 2 years old when he was in the Holocaust. I guess he was in a ghetto, so it's not actually a concentration camp. But it's more so, I mean, it's a ghetto, so you kind of like, he was crammed in there with like a bunch of other people, and it wasn't the greatest of conditions. I know he was explaining, and it's all in the doc, so like for anybody who's interested, he explains a lot of it. Very upsetting backstory. Like he was super young when this happened. He remembers it, which is really sad. He did share the story with his mom, so she passed away, but it was their story, so whenever she would tell it, he kind of just carried it on, passed it on. This photo that you guys are looking at right now with the jumpsuit, that's actually at the Nyberger Center, like I mentioned. It's in Toronto, so if anybody's interested, they're probably not open right now, but if they are, I would definitely suggest going to check it out. You'll see in the doc too, there's a lot of shots from in there. It's a beautiful display that they have, and it's like, that's a real jumpsuit. When I went to Auschwitz as well, they had a bunch of those, and I don't know if maybe anybody else has been, but they have like shoes, they have hairbrushes, they have like prosthetic limbs that are there too. Like they have, it's incredible. Like it's so upsetting too when you go, but I mean, from what the museum had, this
such a grim reality too. Like I've never experienced that, but to think, like you said, that it existed.
It exists.
Like people, we see it in movies when people talk about it and it's horrible. Grandparents will discuss it, right? But to actually see it and witness, like in your case, a building that was designed to systematically kill people. Essentially, like that is like the peak of evil.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And I have a GoPro footage of me actually in one of the gas chambers that's still standing.
Oh my God, wow.
And you see the ovens, and I have pictures of those too. And it's the worst feeling. Like, just like, I don't even know how to describe. I feel like you just have to go there to experience it yourself.
No, for sure.
To understand. But one of my directing professor, her parents were both Holocaust survivors as well. So this one definitely triggered some emotion for her as well. But she loved it. This photo here, so essentially what the doc is it's Andy explaining how love got him through that. So the love of life, the love of family, love of freedom type of thing. And so this is what that image there kind of portrays, is that him and his wife Judy, that's the love right there for them. And that ring that's on his finger, he talks more about it in the documentary, but that is his mother's wedding ring, and she hid that in his diaper when they were all being forced out of their homes, so that obviously nobody would take it.
Yeah.
So that used to have a nice jewel on it.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
he
right here in the that circular
yeah,
area.
yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's his mother's wedding ring that obviously his dad gave to
Did it
her.
go missing? That jewel?
Uh, no, I don't know actually about the jewel. I never asked him that.
Yeah, it looks empty. No, it looks empty. Like
It looks empty, right? I
it's
have
supposed
no
to be.
idea.
Yeah, it's something. It's an interesting ring. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely something supposed to be in there. Yeah, I don't know where that
Yeah,
went.
yeah. That's
He
part
never
two of the documentary.
he never said where
The
that went.
missing
He
jewel.
calls that the ring of love. He calls that.
Yeah.
He's had that with him forever. That's just a random shot of I think that's Gary, my camera op.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is. Gary
Yeah, there it
Root.
is. Ruiz.
Yeah. What camera is this, by the way? Is this a red?
That's a C200 Canon.
C200.
Yeah, it's a great
Canon,
camera.
okay. Yeah, no,
We
beautiful,
ended
yeah.
up, yeah, we ended up using oh my god, what is it? C700 in third year, and it's that camera's like $45,000, so that's why we didn't use it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, like I'm still starting off, so I have my A7 III and I love it to death, but I
Yeah,
know that there's always better things, like with anything, right? You better things to invest in, but
yeah.
once you get to that level, then you can consider it. Because yeah, that and I think that's the advantage of going to film school, right? You have access to this
You have
equipment.
access to everything. It's amazing. I just
That's
wish they would
amazing.
let us
Yeah,
like rent it out,
of
I guess,
course.
like after hours and when we graduate. But no, it's only for the students.
That's great. I do want to mention though, because we're on topic of cameras.
Yeah,
Do you have one that you're using now,
I
like for
don't.
your own
I
personal
literally
project? Oh
use
no,
like
okay.
a DSLR. Like it. I wish I. Yeah, no,
That's
I
how.
wish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wish. But I think I just stick to editing. That's why I don't have like my own camera. So it's like whatever. If you guys like shoot it, like I can shoot it, but I have like a DSLR. Like
Right. So what
not
you're
that
saying
great.
is, so what you're saying with your friend there, like for example, the clothing line,
Yeah,
you're
it's
responsible just for editing.
well, no, so we're gonna use the cameras that we have.
Oh, okay,
I know
cool,
some of the other guys that are on the crew have because we have like a small crew going on. So some of them
nice.
have DSLRs as well. So we're gonna use that. We have like our own lighting equipment, and then the studio that we rented out or that we booked has like other lighting equipment and like backdrops that we can use. So like it's
Yeah, yeah.
like literally the only thing we have is like that, the
You just got to
camera.
get creative with it. That's
Yeah,
it. That's the
exactly.
best.
It's not
Yeah,
gonna come out bad
yeah.
as long as I put my editing skills to it. We're good.
You just gotta like, if I could just give you again a piece of advice is, or what I've learned is put stuff out there. Like people
Yeah,
don't really care as
just
much
do
as
it.
you think. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then this is last shoot day, and that's
Yeah,
you.
so that we shot at that's me. And then the
Standing.
producer,
Yeah.
Selena. We shot that's at the Francis Simon Wiesenthal Center. We did do interviews with the girls that were helping me there. We didn't end up putting them in because the doc got too long, and so we had to shorten it. So we had to take their segments out, but they just kind of talked about their work experience there and like what they do and like how they help the Holocaust survivors. And yeah, so it's actually their jobs are pretty interesting, considering they've met literally all like the survivors, right? Like it's such an honor to meet them. Like
Of
they've
course,
gone
of
through
course.
so much, and like just knowing all their stories. Like I'm so thankful that I met Andy and Vera, and as well as the other man that I mentioned earlier. I don't remember his name, but their stories are incredible. Like I remember like reading Vera's book, and I was like sobbing the whole time because
Oh
it's
yeah.
so sad. Like
Yeah, yeah.
everything that she was talking about, and then how she was liberated, and like
Of course.
it was insane. Yeah, I can
And you
go on.
spend that time with them. Yeah, you spend that time with them, and you appreciate their story.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
was Andy's like memories very vivid? Like, did he have exactly like what?
I think
Yeah,
so. I
yeah. No, no, because I don't know. Sorry, what was the age that he was
He was 2,
in the country?
so he's
He
what,
was two.
77,
But he
75?
remember he remembers though,
He
like
remembers,
being that
yeah.
little. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I don't wanna
that's when
I
you
don't
know it's a
wanna
traumatizing event.
yeah, like, I don't wanna give
Yeah.
spoilers or anything, so I'm
No,
not
no,
gonna
no.
give
Yeah, yeah. Don't
spoilers,
worry. Don't
but
worry. Yeah.
there's some things that he explains that are literally traumatizing. Like, I don't know how anybody I wouldn't even know, like, my own like, myself, I wouldn't know how to put myself in that situation. He was explaining this isn't in the doc, so I can say this. He
Sure.
was explaining when they were liberated. I think his mom had asked a Russian soldier, for bread, and he hadn't eaten in forever. So this little tiny piece of bread was, like, amazing for him. Just,
Yeah.
like, this tiny little bun that he was given, and the way like he expressed you can just tell he got really emotional during the entire thing, and like I was trying to suck back tears too because I was the one interviewing him. So at the beginning of the doc you can hear me talking, and like that's like whenever I was asking him questions I was trying to like not cry because
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
really sad, like everything he was explaining. But he's gone on to actually promote the doc for me as well, because he does a bunch of talks as well with
Nice.
like students and like
Yeah.
young Jewish people. And see, we're not Jewish either. None of us on the crew were Jewish, and so he was even more like thankful for that, because he's like, even non-Jewish people are trying to promote the Holocaust, not promote it, but like awareness, raise awareness for it, because like I mentioned earlier, not a lot of people know about it. Like my siblings don't know what it is. They saw the
Yeah.
doc, they're like, what is that? Like my sister doesn't know. She's
That's
like,
crazy. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you're a little too young to know, but you know, one day.
Yeah, one day in school they'll teach you. Yeah, that's a crazy experience. And you
Yeah,
know, I can for sure understand why he, looked at that piece of bread like it was, a piece of gold, like the best thing ever,
literally,
because
yeah.
we live in such a world where we don't realize, and the pandemic has proven, especially our generations, that we're being given everything. We've been spoiled.
Yep.
And that's why nothing really excites us anymore, and why a lot of us come across not grateful.
Yeah,
But this pandemic has proven us, otherwise, right?
no, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. But yeah, it was definitely very life-changing experience. Everything about it. And I had the best crew. Like everybody did such a good job. So shout out to everybody
And
who I
it's
got to work
yeah, yeah.
with.
Shout out to everyone that worked on this film. I don't know everyone's name, but yeah,
Yeah.
this is quality stuff. And I was telling you before the podcast, just on first impressions, and not to crap on any people in school, but usually with a student film, you don't really see that professionalism. But it's
No, I
amazing what you
agree.
guys pulled off. I think it was the talent is there. That's what I have to.
I don't treat it as a student film anymore.
Right. Good.
When I even so as you can see on the screen, it was selected for the Lake Shores International Film Festival. And then recently I had I think it's Deep oh my god, hold on. What is it? Deep Focus Film Festival. I think that's what it is. They sent me an
Sounds
email.
very familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you follow them actually, because I ended up following them and I saw that you followed them, I
Oh,
think.
nice. Okay, cool.
I think you do. So they ended up reaching out to me, which I made a post about, and they said they really liked it and they want to put it on their website or something like that. So I had to apply for it, which is
Nice.
still in the consideration, I
Like
guess stage.
pending. Like what is this, Film Freeway?
Depending, like it's
Yeah, yeah.
in consideration
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for it, and
Nice.
they give me like a little discount too, which is good. But yeah, no, so
Yeah, yeah.
it made it to the film festivals, which I'm super proud of. And so when I go to apply for these film festivals, I don't click student film, I click short doc.
Good, good.
It
And
doesn't.
that's very important. You see, you're saying some cool stuff, because when I was no, yeah, when I was applying to Film Freeway when I first started years ago, my films, I guess they were amateurish in a way where it's like, yeah, I could get away with the whole student film. But as I progress in my career, I don't want to always be submitting to the student film section, because I was always thinking like, oh, maybe I need to submit to student film to have a better chance to get in. And then
Yeah,
you think to yourself, yeah, but if you do get in, what are you going to say? Oh, I got best student film. It's like, no, people want to see you got best short film.
yeah, exactly.
Uh, and I see it right here, Lake Shorts International Short Film Festival. It's an official selection, and that's not a student
Yeah,
qualification,
no,
right? Yeah,
it's just we
nice,
applied for it. Actually, my producer did, so
nice.
it might be a student. I would have said student, I think. That's actually taking place in September. So I invited Andy. So who knows? Maybe if
Andy, yeah,
Andy's gonna show up. He came to
good,
the
good.
screening. We had a screening for the docs back in, I mean, last year, and then the thing caught fire, so it got canceled. The
Yeah.
popcorn machine caught fire, so it got canceled.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, how great! So we didn't
Oh,
actually
great.
scream.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe if anybody wants to
I
come,
was
like
like, what
we'll
caught
be
fire?
there.
The theater? And then you're like, no, the popcorn machine.
The
Like,
popcorn
oh,
machine, so
that's
everybody had to
sad.
evacuate.
Yeah, it's like, what?
We didn't even get to watch it, so he came all the way from his house to downtown
Are you kidding?
Toronto.
So he was just playing, and then all of a sudden the popcorn machine just ablaze.
We got through like one documentary, and he like came with his family. We couldn't even
That
watch it. I
sucks.
felt so
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I'll just send you a copy. Screen it at
Oh my
home.
God, poor
Take it.
guy. Yeah,
I
that,
know. I felt
yeah.
so
It's not
bad.
your fault, but that is a bit awkward. I could see definitely you being
It was
frustrated for sure.
so awkward.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And then you just put it out and like continue. They had to just shut it down and say,
I
we'll
had
see
to
you
shut it
guys.
down.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I have a Snapchat memory of it actually. All the fire trucks coming in.
That's jokes.
It was
Well,
so bad.
yeah. I do want to mention before I forget,
Yeah.
I wanted to just show you. So again, if you guys are watching on YouTube, we're just gonna play just a few minutes, few seconds of the video here.
Yeah, it's right there. Hopefully,
Holocaust, a love story, and this is Andy.
The one and only.
The one and only, yeah. So there's no sound here, but you'll get the visuals.
Still super proud.
Yeah, no, for sure. He had a personality that was good. You know what I mean? Like he had that like he was tongue in
Yeah.
cheek.
He's such an amazing guy. I even, yeah, like I said, I still keep in touch with him now because I just want to, obviously, especially now, like I want to make sure he's okay, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking because you see a man like this, you know, he's so optimistic and he had to go through this.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going through a global pandemic right now.
And now he's going through a global pandemic. And what's strange is that um like I have grandparents that are 94, 95, probably very similar age range of Andy, and they are the opposite of how seniors are handling it. They're like dismissive about it. Like they don't care. Like they're like, you know, don't worry about it. And some people obviously won't
Yeah,
understand, but I understand because you know you see this, right? They never experienced the Holocaust, but they experienced World War II. Their whole
exactly.
cities
Yeah,
were leveled.
yeah,
And like if you experienced a war like that or the situation like the Holocaust, a pandemic is nothing.
it's nothing. That,
Like
I
a
know.
virus
It's
that kills
nothing.
1%, like they're literally probably saying this is what I mean by we become soft is they just don't understand you know why everyone's freaking out
Yeah,
the way they are, right? Obviously, like, you know, I'm not taking away how it's affected everybody, but I can understand though why like people in their 90s, the ones that are like really tough at heart, won't be bothered by a
yeah,
virus.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah, I just wanted to show a few clips of the footage, the archival footage. Like, where was this provided by him or?
yeah. So all the photos that you see animated, those are all his. Anything within the so the first half of it is all like the history, the backstory about, you know, like um his life before and then his life during the Holocaust, and then the whole second segment of the doc is basically his life now.
Mhm.
Um, but the first half, like all the videos, like the archival footage that you see, we had to purchase all of that. So it's not his specifically, obviously, because like I said, he was two. But the photos are his, just the videos are not. So those ones we had to like find online and like purchase them and then add them to the film where it
Nice.
fits. Yeah.
And I wanted to get into your accomplishments here. This is on your website. So,
Yeah.
yeah, some cool stuff. You got the selections. What's the Safe Sets COVID-19 though certificate?
So
Is that something?
that's something new that everybody kind of has to do for
Okay.
because of COVID. It's just, I mean, I'm pretty sure safe sets as well, and hopefully I'm not mistaken. That's something you have to do regardless. It's just being safe, literally on set. But I think
Yeah.
now because of COVID, they added that as like a, I guess like a category, if you will.
No, no, for sure. Yeah. No, it's good to
Yeah,
have, right? Because you don't know when this thing's gonna end.
yeah, and that's like another
So
thing too is back to what we were talking about my professors. If like that's something that they wanted us to do because it will help us in the future. Um, so if you know if they didn't say it, I would not have known what it is. So especially like the making accessible one as well. The
yeah, because
women's like self-explanatory.
the women's, yeah, the women, yeah, that's begging groceries. They give you that on
Yeah,
orientation, right?
exactly. Exactly.
That's so funny. Yeah. But yeah, it's the reason why I ask is I never heard of that with that safe sets. I just know we have to follow protocol whenever we do a film set, but
Yeah,
the
yeah,
certificate, yeah, would make sense.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
that's cool. Yeah, a lot of exciting stuff. You know, I think it's just a matter of keeping at it,
Yeah,
staying
exactly.
positive, right? And
Yep.
you know, staying creative as much as you can through your projects. I like the idea that you're collaborating with like friends, like that
Yeah,
brand, the clothing line is so cool.
yeah, exactly.
Um, because it's important, right? It's the generation like the 18 to 34, everyone's on Instagram. So if you can just
Exactly.
get as
Yeah.
much content out, and then you're doing these other ones. So what's Dying with Dignity,
So
PSA?
Dying with Dignity is a public service announcement that we shot back in October. So I produced that one. It literally says right there, it's like it focuses on the importance of making end of life decisions, essentially. So Dying with Dignity Canada is an actual organization,
Hmm.
and they literally assist with assisted suicide, and you know, like literally promote how it's important to make those end of life decisions. So that's something that I just produced. I was added on as producer like super late. So I didn't have any part in writing it or anything like that, but that's something that we shot in October. It's literally still in the post-production phase. And it's been super hard to finish projects now because of the pandemic. Nobody can get to the school to edit and mix and all that. I think they're mixing it right now, actually.
And then they needed the equipment. You're saying it's not something they could do at home.
Yeah. So that's why it's kind of taking a little bit longer than expected. And I have all of like the actors literally emailing me every time, like, when's it gonna be ready? When's it gonna be ready? I'm like, I don't know. Like, hopefully soon. And then We Need to Talk is just something that I did the production design for. It's just a short film. And it's about, I mean, it says right there as well, but it's about a 12-year-old. Two 12-year-old best friends, and then it just focuses on like, you know, teen suicide. So essentially what we did as well for like the social media, because I'm also social media marketer for that, is not only promoting the film, but also if there is, you know, like if there is someone struggling with mental health, we also want to promote like the Kids Help Phone. So say that there are resources for you in case you need it. So that's kind of what I think that's what they added at the end of the film as well, if I'm not mistaken. It's just saying, you know, if you need help, like reach out. There's options for you. So that's just something I added to the upcoming projects because I was production designer for it. So all the I guess set dressing that you see is me on that one. But yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that's an important subject matter. That's something I talk about a lot on the podcast, and it comes up because, you know, a lot of people I talk to are around our age. So that's, you know, mental health. It's a big thing with this pandemic, and that was actually a topic of my last short film that I did. So it's an important subject that you guys are exploring.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely it was a sad script. I'm not gonna lie. When I read it, I was like, oh my.
It's and I notice a pattern with your work. It's you don't do like, you know, romantic comedies or, you know, quirky kind of films. They're really dark.
Unfortunately, it comes across.
Yeah, you know, I'm saying I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's maybe it's coincidental, but
it definitely coincidental because I didn't actually plan that.
But maybe those are the best films, right? Like because they challenge you to explore like the human condition, right? And
and there's deeper meaning to them as well if you look further into it, right?
Yeah, you're able to have range, just like an actor, you're able to have range, right? So if you do comedy, you'll be able to know how to do that, and then vice versa. And yeah, it's very cool. What's his? I just out of curiosity because I was trying to pronounce it, but I've not given it a shot. How do you pronounce his brand?
So it's CX Sumisura. So C is my friend's initial first name, and then the X would be like collab, like crossed with.
Oh, right.
Sumisura, I believe, means I think it means clothing. I think is what she explained it. I don't remember. Something like that. And then there's just like the brand launch, obviously.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's how you pronounce it, Sumisura.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, it's a streetwear brand?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So a lot of great stuff that thank you for sharing. And you know, your journey just has begun. And, yeah. And, you know, I just want to say, like, thank you again for coming on the podcast. I plan to have you back, you know, document your journey, keep us updated on all the stuff that's going on. Maybe one day we can collaborate on a project.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So thank you again, Victoria. Thank you again, everybody, for listening. Yeah. Thank you. And yeah, we'll talk soon.
Cool. Thank you so much.